Good evening, everyone. Losers Bracket Podcast, episode 114. And this week we've got two awesome series of guests, I should say, because one is part of a team and the other helps run King of the Couch, NJHalo. You've seen him on the show before. Rod Lane will be joining us. We've got a lot going on in the esports world. I do appreciate you stopping by the Losers Bracket this week with the big release Diablo 3 coming out today. So thanks for taking some time out of your Diablo 3 playing and joining us. I am joined by my normal co-hosts. I have LordJerith over on the right of me on the screen, and also Curt KeyHunt Carter from Check 6 Gaming. Gentlemen, how are you doing this week? Curt, what's going on, my man?
Lots of stuff. Been a pretty busy week. For those that didn't have a chance to see it yet, we're going to cover this a little bit in the show when we talk about Arena. But, what I was, alluding at last week, one of my players, Sleep, did make it into the Arena, so he will be in New York. Cross your fingers at least. This upcoming weekend. So I'm really, really excited for that. It'll be interesting to see how things go. In the world of news, we've got a lot of stuff to cover as well. So, Good week.
Definitely. Congratulations to you, by the way, about Sleep. That's pretty darn awesome news, and we look forward to watching him this weekend. Jerry, how are you doing today, my sir?
Well, I'm busy. I've been busy for about a week now since the promotion, so I find myself having a little less time for certain things, but overall I can't complain. We just in vVvGaming revamped our application process, sort of a 5-year process that I think this latest iteration is something really, really good. So I'm pretty excited about that. Glad that we did that. And, looking to later this week play Diablo 3 like everyone else.
I saw the tweets you had put out this morning. It made me laugh. I'm not jealous of you guys. No, really, I'm not. It's cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks. That made me kind of giggle a little bit. I could feel the pain and anguish just echoing.
I know a lot of people right now who are muted their Diablo 3 game and are listening to Losers Bracket while playing Diablo 3. So I'm not jealous at all.
Right. I believe you. I really do. While we're talking about games that people want to play, people are still looking for Dota 2 beta keys. We are giving one away on the show tonight, courtesy of applicant Vero from vVvGaming. Thank you. Kudos to him. If you would like a chance to win a Dota 2 beta key, all you need to do is tweet out a message with @LosersBracket. Just mention it in there and link to our show. By the end of the show, we will pick one person who has tweeted out. It'll be a random selection. And if you have tweeted, you will be entered to win. So if you would like to win a Dota 2 beta key, just head on over to Twitter, mention @LosersBrackets, and link over to the show so that people can know that we're live, so they can tune in and watch our great interviews with our great guests. And speaking of which, I'd like to bring one in right now. We have him on the show for the first time live. He has been on in the past, but we are going to be joined by Rod from NJHalo. Rod, it's actually, it's been a while, my man. How in the world have you been, sir?
Hey, good evening, fellas. First time on, since we did the video thing. I've been pretty good, man. Pretty blessed. We've been doing a bunch of tournaments continuously every month. Things have been really good, and I'm just excited to be back on the show, especially with the new technology, using the webcams and everything. Last time we were doing radio editing and everything, so it's only been a few months, but it's like light years ahead, as far as advancement. So I'm just happy to be on here. Great group of guys, and I just want to get the word out about what we're doing.
Speaking of which, you got a tournament coming up this weekend. I believe we're calling it CoDzilla. So tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Yeah, we're going to be running a CoDzilla, which is a Call of Duty event. It's going to be in Philadelphia, May 19th and 20th. It'll be in conjunction with, there will be a Gears of War event there also, COG Vengeance. That can be found at gearscon.com. You can check them out for the Gears of War end. My primary function is to do the Call of Duty, and then we're going to do a 4v4, 2v2 FFA, 2-day event. We're guaranteeing 2,000 for the 4v4 initially, and then as the teams increase, the pot will increase. So we're excited about everything. We've been getting the feedback has been absolutely off the hook, off the chains. Our monthly events that we do, for one day are usually very, very good, very well attended. So this 2-day, we're expecting record numbers. I've been hearing from people from all type, about 9 or 10 different states have contacted me through phone calls, emails, Twitter, etc. So this is going to be pretty good. I'm very excited.
Awesome, very cool. Since the last time that you have been on the show, though, I mean, how's the day job been? Give us a quick update on you personally before we get more into the tournament side of things. Because, hey, some of these people that are tuning in, seeing your face for the first time, might not know about the personal side of you. So tell us a little bit about what's going on in your personal life, how things been.
Well, first of all, like a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't even. They think video games is the only thing I do. This is just something that I do. On the side, but I'm actually a high school teacher. I'm a high school teacher in North Jersey. I teach history. So, this is the time of year we have, finals and proms, et cetera, et cetera. So, and on the personal scene, this is like my Christmas time, as far as being a teacher. This May, June type thing in the Northeast and New Jersey area, we get out late June. So right now we're dealing with exams. People are passing. Are they failing? This, that, proms coming up and graduation. So it's a real busy time. So my personal life, like I said, I am a high school teacher, and that's what I do. So that's why a lot of times on Twitter and stuff, I don't get on. And maybe early in the morning before I leave work, and then later in the evening. So a lot of people assume maybe this is all I did was the gaming end, but nah, I have a busy day and I deal with teenagers every day. So when I get home, 5 or 6 o'clock, that's when I can get on and do my little magic on the computer. Very
cool. Curt, it's your first time actually getting the chance to talk with Rod, since you have not been a host any other time that he has come on the show. I want to pass the mic on over to you so that you might be able to get a couple questions in with him.
Yeah, I mean, Rod, I don't know you too well, man, so forgive me. I'm going to have to ask you a few, I guess, probably basic questions you have been asked a million times before. Hope you don't mind too much.
No problem.
But no, I am kind of curious, man, because one thing about me, I've always kind of wondered why people do what they do. So, for instance, I do what I do. I try to manage teams because I'm a tad bit egotistical, and I like to know what's going on. Yeah, I like to see behind the scenes stuff. I really enjoy it. Why do you do what you do? Why do you like running these events?
Well, first of all, I'm old school. Jerry can appreciate that. I'm from the days of Atari, ColecoVision, and television, et cetera, et cetera. And I was real big into John Madden, real big and very, very, very competitive on the PC end of John Madden. We're talking like Madden 98, 99, stuff like that, prior to when the consoles really exploded. At that point, I was pretty dominant at the game of Madden, former football player in high school and college, coached on a nationally ranked football team in New Jersey. So football is in my blood. I've always loved it. The problem was, once you get a job and work and mortgages and bills, your time is just not what it used to be to prepare for some of these games. So my Madden dominance, started to decrease by the years. I'm like, I can't beat these guys. I can beat the regular guy, but on the competitive end, it started getting harder and harder. After that, I got on the first reality series for Madden called Madden Nation. I was one of the first person casts for that in EA Sports and ESPN. And I got hammered on it. I admit it. I held my own, but hey, they got me. They got me. These young guys. So I said, maybe I should start getting more into the administrative end, and maybe I should, a lot of athletes, when their days come, they go into coaching. So I said, let me get on the administrative end. So I started running events. Being a high school teacher, I think I have my finger on the pulse of what young adults like, what they expect, what hypes them up, and we started out in 2002 in the basement of the American Legion in Dover, New Jersey, and we've progressed since.
Sweet, yeah. I always love hearing the sort of those backstories, but I appreciate it. Jerry, I'm gonna pass it on to you.
Yeah, every time I hear old school, and Jerry can appreciate that, I always feel like, why do they pick on me? But much like Rod, I did start on the Atari 2600, and I've probably owned every console since. I try to think what was probably from the Sega Genesis on. I'm trying to think of anything that I might have missed. And the truth is not much. I mean, I eventually broke down and bought a PlayStation 3 eventually got that too. So I guess been there through the whole thing. Now, Rod, I think you're doing something really important. And one of the reasons I love to have you on the show is because there aren't a lot of people who do what you do, which is allow local. And in this case, local isn't even the right word. I think for you, really, NJHalo is a regional event. Like, I know people come from all surrounding states to come to this event because it's one of the rare places where they can compete. It's not overly expensive. The location is good. And you generally get a lot of people there, a lot of people for social reasons and others. Let's talk a little bit about specifically the Call of Duty scene, since the CoDzilla event is really the showcase for this weekend. For those who may not know, is this your first big Call of Duty event? Have you run it in the past? And talk a little bit about what made Call of Duty the focus for this upcoming event.
Well, we've been doing Call of Duty for the past few years. One of our flagship events is called Sonic Boom. That's an event that we have October, September, November, December type every year. And Call of Duty has been one of the big games that we've always run. The Sonic Boom events are very, very huge crowds. 200, 300, 400 people. For locals, for 200, 300, 400, that's an impressive crowd. We partnered up with GearsCon. I'm doing some work with them as far as doing some equipment and handling some equipment in for their Gears of War tournament. And I decided, and we decided, I think it would be beneficial if we could double up and do something else. And that's where I brought the CoDzilla in. With MLG not having Call of Duty on the circuit, and pretty much, we've been the staple, consistent Call of Duty tournaments for the last 3 or 4 years. And, we just felt it was time to give people a 2-day event. People have been asking for it. We're predominantly just a 1-day event, $20, $25, come in, have fun, etc. But it's starting to grow beyond just that. It wasn't my original plan, but, it is what it is. I don't claim to be on a level of MLG or anything. That's just not my calling. I love what I do as a professional. But, every now and then we've decided that, twice, maybe 3 times a year, we're going to give the players just something special. They've been asking for it. So that's what's going to make this CoDzilla special. We're going to go 2 days. We normally just do one. The prize pool is guaranteed at a minimum at least $2,000. So we're talking, we're talking some decent money, and it can grow up to $5,000 for the 4s. We're going to have 2v2s. We're going to have FFAs. So we're going to give an opportunity for everybody at every skill level to come out and enjoy and get their feet wet in competitive gaming.
Yeah, I want to follow up what I just said about how important it is. It's an interesting time for console gamers. I mean, for the first time, Halo is no longer on the MLG Pro Circuit, at least for the Anaheim event. Whether it comes back for Raleigh, we'll see. But console gamers, I think, are fairly been set adrift, for lack of a better word. And, I think there's a shaky future for console. And I'm talking primarily non-fighting games. Obviously, fighting games are still on the MLG Pro Circuit. But I'm thinking about the shooters, the staples, the Call of Duties, the Gears, the Halos, all absent, all not having a home. And I want to get a feel for, will CoDzilla be the biggest draw? Are you doing anything else besides CoDzilla, besides Call of Duty? What are the other games that are going to be there this weekend, if any?
Well, excuse me. For this weekend, we're going to have Gears of War 3, which is going to be run by GearsCon. We're going to have that, and we're just going to end Call of Duty. This is going to be such a massive undertaking that we just decided that those 2 games would, that's going to fill the capacity, and there's going to be some long lines, etc. But down the line, like I'm the type of guy that's very aggressive with a lot of these games. On July, I'll be right back in New Jersey, and then from there we're going to be running, I believe, 8 games, 8 titles. So we're going to get into some to the shooters. We'll have some NCAA football. Will be back around by then. We're talking July 21st. So we're going to have a bunch of games. But for this particular tournament, a 2-day, and with a lot of people coming from all over the country, it's going to be the the target is going to be Call of Duty and Gears of War only for this event.
Neat. All right, so you talked about two of the major three. I really want to hear what your thoughts are. Jerry had alluded to it. Halo, now currently off the MLG scene. We have seen a lot of news about Halo 4. You know, that's coming out later this year. The release date just dropped. And in fact, the box art actually just hit the internet today. So we do finally have box art for what Halo 4 is going to look like. In fact, I'm going to throw that up on the stream here in just a second so people can see it if they haven't. But tell me, Rod, are you waiting until we get Halo 4 before we do any more Halo? Or is Halo Reach going to make another appearance?
Right now, we're waiting. We're waiting for Halo 4. We have an incredible partnership that I'm going to announce in a couple weeks. That's very, very impressive. Very impressive. We're talking Halo. We're talking about the people. I'll give you a little hint. You know, people that create Halo, that put it out. We're going to be dealing with them on a large scale level. So Halo 4, as a matter of fact, our first event has already been set. It's going to be called simply NJHalo. Wow. And it's going to be November 17th. Saturday, November 17th will be NJHalo, and then we're going to follow up. I know we're way down the line, but you have to think this way. December 8th and 9th will be Sonic Boom. That's when we're going to have Halo 4 and Call of Duty Black Ops 2, along with Madden, the fighting games, etc. But November 14th will be our first NJHalo Halo 4 event, and expect a monster crowd and a monster marketing promotions with some great partners coming for that event.
Dang, that's
Jerry,
really
I'm not sure if you're like me, but I really wish I could plan that far ahead in time, man.
Well, the one thing, here's the thing.
I wish I could, man. I can't.
The one thing I like about dealing with Rod all the time is Rod is consistent. Well, he's an adult. I guess old school is a good word, but it's consistent, right? I know all the events are going to be well run. I mean, go back in time. I mean, some classic icons at MLG and in gaming. I think of Andreas, Nexy, right? I mean, Nexy got his sort of feet wet at NJHalo quite a while ago. When did you first start, Rod?
I started in 2002 on our 10-year anniversary. I started in 2002 with John Madden. I got into Halo. Some of the other games, I'm saying 2004 is when I actually expanded into different games. But a backstory about Andreas Nexy. Actually, I was a middle school teacher at that point. This is in the 1990s. I'm going to say 97, 98. So, a kid comes into my classroom, we're taking attendance the first day of school, whatever, what's your name? John Smith. What's your name? David, blah, blah, blah. What's your name? Andreas Pierson. I took a look at him. I said, you know what? Your name is Dre, period. So that was it. So his name was Dre from that point on. I had him actually for 2 years, 7th grade and 8th grade. And then he went on into different things. And one of my first, actually, NJHalo was Andreas was very, very, very influential in creating that. And my company's called King of the Couch, by the way, but it's something like Frisbees and Q-tips. There's certain names that just stick, and it's just hard to get rid of it or whatever. I'm not saying I want to get rid of it, but the name NJHalo has stuck with me no matter what games I'm not even running Halo, but it's still an NJHalo event. That's how strong that marketing and that name is. But that concept came up was from Nexy, and he actually convinced me to jump out of the box for John Madden football and sports games, and said, why don't you try this Halo? Blah blah blah. So he helped me with that. My first one of his first sponsorship event meetings. I had a meeting with Red Bull out in Manhattan. And they contacted me and said, well, Dre, I want you to come with me. Oh, you really? Are you sure? I said, yeah, I just want you to come. So, we went down to New York and, actually they were in Hoboken, New Jersey, I believe. They were right across the river. So we went over there and met with Red Bull, and that was like his first event, first meeting with people. He was my ref and my guy for Halo for the first year. Then he expanded and went on to other things, and now the rest is history. Guys like Ghost Giambi, many, many, many Halo guys, Twilight, etc. started out playing Halo at my events and just got better and better. Some of the Call of Duty guys like Assassin, Twiz are regulars at my event. Golden Boy started some of his first shoutcasting at my events. Cream, one of my primary streamers for gear. So a lot of guys are going on to do some great things down the road. And, these guys are young in their 20s. They can do that. My career is already set, but I love to see people that have come off of my tree and branched off. It's a great thing.
What do you think has been some of your challenges over the last year? You make it sound easy, and I know better that it's not easy. What have been some of your challenges over the past year that you've had to deal with? You've been doing this for a long time. You got a lot of experience with it, but at the same time, the environment changes all the time, and the games change, and consoles change. What's been your challenges recently?
Some of the biggest challenges is just trying to keep the communities interested. What happens with these communities? You have a stage where, like I explained before with my career as far as gaming, there's a stage where some people decide to either they're going to go into gaming as a career, or they just feel that they can't compete anymore and they have to concentrate on a lot of things that happen in life. One of the hardest challenges is constantly retooling, because what you have to do is you have to retool. You have to constantly, if you have out of your percentage of players that were playing one year, that next year maybe 40% are playing, but you want to keep your attendance up. So now you have to replace that 60% that went off into other things, or graduated school, or got to grow, whatever it is that has made them leave. So the biggest challenge is always constantly growing the brand to new people, getting new people. And I'm a big believer in that, because if you don't have the new people, you don't have anything. If you don't have college football, you don't have NFL. If you don't have rushes, you don't have fraternities. If you don't have seeds, you don't have trees. You have to start somewhere. So I'm big on that, and I believe that's my role in the community. And as guys get bigger and go on to greater things and TV shows and announcing, that's fine with me. I just, I like to see that happen. But like I said, the biggest challenge is constantly having to get new people into the community.
I swear, Jerry, I gotta cut in for a second. That echoes so much of what we hear even in vVv. It's really funny how much it almost mirrors how we call ourselves a talent factory, and we kind of help get people up to the next level right from vVv, and we're always trying to find ways to recreate ourselves. Jerry had just mentioned right before you came on how we just redid our application process. I find it very interesting how much that model mirrors what we're doing even. Sorry to cut in, but Jerry, continue.
No, I think you bring a good point. I mean, everything is always evolving. And one thing I noticed, Rod, and we've never, I think, talked about this too much. So as you know, Rod and I often talk about managing the community, managing their expectations. For example, for VV Gaming, having to sort of leave Gears of War to be far less important anymore. Just the times have changed. But one area I want to talk about, Rod, is fighting games. A lot of local tournaments for fighting games. I'm wondering if that's something you've ever looked at, or you've decided to stay away from, or there's just too many fighting events in the sort of New York, New Jersey area. What's your sort of? And I know you've done Brawl, but I just wanted to get your opinion on the fighting game genre in the community.
Yeah, the fighting game community is definitely a thriving community, but I think they put limitations on themselves. They can take it to the next level. It's a very, very tight knit community. Almost like a secret society. Almost, you're talking to a guy that's been around. It's been a lot of different things. It's very, very hard if you're not one of the guys. It's very, very, very difficult, to get into that. So I've done fighting games here and there. It's hard for me to keep the consistency simply because of the fact that I'm not one of the guys as far as the fighting games people go. And that's pretty much how it is with that. I admire their community aspect is very, very good, and a lot of games should actually take take some of those pointers that they give, to help build communities. But like I said, the expansion, I believe that fighting games could be so much bigger, as far as sponsorship, et cetera. But it's a very, very close knit group, and sometimes with that close knitness comes almost a reluctance to see the next thing, or et cetera. So that's the thing that I see with the fighting game community. I love what they do. I love their commitment to their communities, but I think it's time for them to take this to the next level, to reach out to different organizations, to sometimes you have to change things that you've always done, and just take it to more of a business level. And I think it could really, really explode.
That's awesome. Well, I want to say thank you to a special guest. In our stream chat right now, we have someone here from Signal Studios. And for those who don't know, Signal Studios puts out a game, Toy Soldiers, and they have a new one coming out. And there are a couple beta keys being given away in the stream. So hopefully those of you who are listening, Toy Soldiers Cold War is the new game. And they are giving away beta keys. So hopefully you've had a chance. There's now 3 beta keys, so they're just rolling out. So that's really good to see. So
that's awesome.
Thanks a lot. Much appreciated. I think, I don't know, I've had this really sort of love of developers recently. I think Firefall's developer Red 5 is doing a great job. Riot keeps doing a good job. Another thing that's amazing is the prize pool for Mortal Kombat keeps going up and up and up. Between Sony and Mortal Kombat's developer, NetherRealms, right? Am I right about that? It's NetherRealms, right? NetherRealm, pardon me. And they're just really doing fantastic things. So those are good times. Now, one more thing I want to talk about, Rod, is the end of the year stuff coming up for you, because it is a big year in console gaming for those who love Halo and those who love Call of Duty. New Halo is going to drop. Black Ops 2, the developers talked a lot about console. And I get this question a lot. Maybe you can help people understand the sort of issues. At scale, Major League Gaming has difficulty running Call of Duty as a LAN game. They want more developer support to make it more LAN friendly. At a smaller scale, you're able to run it. But I'm wondering, could the developer do more to make it friendly for tournament organizers to run Call of Duty on LAN? And if so, how?
Well, we get the job done. I have a guy called, his name is Mike Solvo. I'm going to shout him out. Simply Black is his name on Twitter. He's the guy, a very smart guy, going to school in Philadelphia to be a pharmacist. A legit pharmacist, by the way. A legit pharmacist, not a street pharmacist. But anyway, this kid is very bright. He's the guy that runs my Call of Duty, and he found a way. At my events, we are a small scale, compared to MLG. Compared to everybody else, we're big scale as far as locals. But we find a way. That's just the thing. Something happens, hey, we find a way. If power goes out, we find a way. So the game didn't have all the nuances that made it easy like Black Ops did. But I put Mike on it. I said, look, Mike, the game came out Tuesday night. We're going to have a tournament on Saturday. That's what we did for Modern Warfare 3. We had a tournament that Saturday. And I said, find a way. He called me back on Wednesday night, said, look, Rod, I found a way. So we make things happen. As far as the developers working, I think it's the bottom line is they have to see the interest from the community. If they see the community, with monster numbers and positive feedback and consistency, I think that's a key, and that's something that with younger people, like I said, they're in a transitional phase in their life. But consistency, I think they would actually listen more. As a matter of fact, I'm involved with a group called the Game Changers with EA Sports, and what they do is they actually fly people in. And this is something I want to touch upon. If you look at my Twitter at NJRod, if you look at my background, you'll see the EA Sports Game Changers logo, and that's something that EA Sports has done for the last, I want to say 7 or 8 years, where they actually have what's called Community Day, where they actually take bloggers, tournament guys, tips guys, whatever, and they take the best of the best and they fly them down actually to EA Sports Studios down in Orlando, and they actually deal with the people and they give them feedback and they do stuff with the game. I think that's the next stage. 2K Games has announced that they're going to do something similar, and I think that's the key, actually getting community involvement with an organized group. Epic Games has done that also. Epic Games, Will Kinsler over there has started a program also, their first year, having I think it's called Epic Gamers. I'm not sure exactly what they have, but I think that's the key. We have to get dialogue with the people.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead,
oh,
Curt. No, go, Curt.
You know the really funny thing about that, what you said too. I couldn't agree more. And the funny thing is that Activision actually used to do that before they got ginormous, I suppose is the word to say, before Call of Duty 4 hit, and then Modern Warfare 2 and all that. And they had they actually brought out, and I'm not sure who's familiar with this, but on the PC side of things at least, they brought out a guy who made Call of Duty television for the original COD 1 version. And actually had him help out with some of the stuff and some of that. To me, that's always been amazing. I absolutely love the fact that when developers do that. Are you? I guess I want to ask this question, and you sort of answered it before, but I just want to get a little bit more of your opinion on it, and that is, do you as a tournament organizer, is it easier on you working with developers now? Like directly with developers, whether it be, I know you mentioned the Halo and stuff like that. Is it actually easier for you doing that directly now?
Well, I think it's a matter of building a level of respect, building a resume, etc. So I actually have very good ties with a lot of the developers, just through my years of being in the business. So every now and then I'll call out a favor or something, get some things done. But working with GameStop doing their national championships for Halo and Call of Duty, and dealing my background with Will Kensler and the guys from Epic and EA Sports. So for me, actually, it is easier. It's easier as far as getting contact and getting some dialogue going. As far as the games themselves, I think the bottom line is going to be, is it worth it for the manufacturers to invest, nuances and changes for the tournament community or the competitive community? I think MLG is a great thing, but I think it has to be more than just that. It can't just, everybody can't sit back and wait for MLG to do everything. I think the local communities need to really attack. I'm out here in New Jersey, which is the third smallest state, in the union. And, we're running outside of MLG, we're running the biggest tournaments, in the country on a regular basis. I would love to see the same thing happen in different states so we can build this scene and build it more to a level where the developers can say, hey, wait a second, this is viable. Look at all this. They're running this, they're doing that, et cetera, et cetera. So that's my goal. So I think the answer is, with the community getting bigger, the community getting more consistent, and and basically, there's a lot of people in the community. If things don't, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You got to be in it to win it. We have these in and out guys, this and that, which is not good. I think if you're dedicated to a game and you want to see a change, you're gonna have to put some time into it, put some consistency, and then hopefully with all that, it will definitely change the minds of the developers to say, hey, wait a second, this is a viable part of the community, and we're going to do stuff to help these guys.
Gotcha. All right. Back to you, Jerry.
Thanks, Curt. Rod, I know we got to wrap this segment up pretty soon, but I want to touch on one more thing, and that is, the opportunity to do PC gaming is something that some LAN organizers look at, but obviously the cost is more. There are the computers themselves, headsets, mice, unless you don't all bring your own. Do you ever see NJHalo including PC stuff, or do you think it's better for you to stick to consoles?
Well, one of the things that makes NJHalo King of the Couch an effective type thing is that we are mobile. We have the ability to go from spot to spot. We bring a couple cargo vans worth of stuff, and the next thing you know, we have 100-something consoles out, et cetera, that can go from spot to spot. The challenges with computers is that you're going to have to find a spot that can coexist with what the requirements are. So a LAN center would probably be more optimal for that type of thing. But I will tell you this: the next move with the next generation of consoles, we're going to be taking some big changes, and definitely the PC stuff is on the horizon. We're looking at some partners, some things I'm working with right now with some of these partners we're going to announce, especially with the Halo launch. I've touched base a little bit on that. I would have to say it's going to be difficult, but I'd say the answer is probably going to be a definite yes. That's where a lot of things are going. We're definitely going to stay in the console thing, but that next cycle, when the next games come out, you're going to see a lot of changes, with our brand and what we're doing with some of our partners. So yeah, PC gaming is definitely something that's going to be a challenge, but we're working on some partnerships that are going to make that a lot easier. So the answer is definitely yes.
And then that makes me think of one more thing. I know I said that was my last, but one more thing that I'm thinking about is the mobile space. I keep seeing the numbers on mobile games rising, and I'm not a mobile gamer. The only mobile game I've played is two, I think Air Attack HD on my tablet, and then also play Dungeon Defenders on my tablet. But I do see an increase in the mobile gaming numbers, and I've wondered if you ever considered doing anything in the mobile scene.
We haven't really talked about that yet. We have messed with, Nintendo DS is probably the closest thing to something like that, but we haven't really that hasn't really crossed our board yet. But you know what? Anything's possible, and as technology changes, like who knows what we're going to talk about 2 or 3 years from now, as far as different things. So, like the way I see it, if you build it, they will come. And I ask people about Max Payne, etc. I'm always out there asking what's going on. July 21st, we're bringing Pokemon back, so I'm always looking for something to try to take a shot at and see if it works. If the mobile apps and these things, if we can find a way to do some of these things and it's successful, we'll definitely test them out. And if it works, we'll definitely be on the forefront of doing that. So everything is open as far as King of the Couch and NJHalo. It's just a matter of if the people want it and if the people will come and support it. And if we have the capabilities, we would definitely do it.
Awesome, Rod. Well, Jason, I think we're about out of time here. So I'm going to turn it over to you to wrap up and give Rod his last shout-outs and stuff.
Most definitely, Rod. I do appreciate you stopping by. It's actually been really good catching up because, it's been like 20-something episodes since you've been here. So really appreciate you taking the time. Hey, originally, here's the dirty laundry. Originally, you weren't even having a cam set up. You went out, you got that all set up for us. I really do appreciate it. It's been awesome having you back on the show, especially live for the first time. So,
thank you.
Oh, no, thank you, my man. Any shout-outs before we let you go?
Yeah, I just wanted to shout out my website. That's www.kotcnation.com, and that's where you can find the information about CoDzilla. I want to also shout out GearsCon, GearsCon.com. Those are going to be the organization that's doing the COD Vengeance event. The event is going to be on Saturday, May 19th. In Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, Rocky, all that stuff. We won't be punching meat in the freezers, but we will be getting some action in on some Call of Duty and some Gears of War. So we just hope that everybody can come out. The responses have been incredible. My Twitter is @NJRod. That's where all my information can be found, and we're looking forward to it. And I'm very happy that to be back on the show. You guys are a great organization, and it's a great show.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Everyone, go check out NJ Rod on Twitter. You can see his Twitter name right down there in the box, right where his video is. Rod, we're going to have to get you back on the show in the future, talk about your other events that are coming up. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that Halo 4 Black Ops 2 event goes on later in the year. Thanks for dropping the news on that. And yet again, sir, we definitely appreciate you stopping by, and hope you have a wonderful night.
Yeah, one more quick thing. On July, a lot of my guys, NJHalo, we're in Philadelphia this time, so a lot of my real local guys that can't get out here are disappointed a little bit. But July 21st, we will be back, and I would love to be on the show for that because we're going to run about 10 to 12 different games. That's going to be really something special, July 21st. So we're going to go all out NJHalo style.
God, I can't imagine that many games, man.
With six or seven, six will be fighters, and then a combination of this, that, NBA coming out, NBA 2K. We have the college football. Depending on what happens, you may throw out some Max Payne out there.
I applaud you, Rod. You got more guts than me, man.
Got to be in it to win it. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Take care, Rod.
All right, Rod. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
He's so awesome. That's always such a good guest. Got people in the chat right now saying, "Oh, Philly," because we got some Philly peoples in the chat room. So
yeah,
for those
that brought up, by the way. Jason, he brought up the Max Payne stuff. I have to ask, who won the Max Payne exhibition match for MLG?
I didn't actually tune in, so it's going to be really tough for me to say.
Oh, get you! Look at that.
I know.
Jerry, do you know by chance?
I want to go. No, but I want to talk about something real quick that I think is important. Real important that we can't let just sort of slide. Did he say punching meat in a freezer?
I think he did. Yeah,
he did.
There is no. That's the Rocky reference for those who don't know. Yep. And I'm pretty. I was pretty taken aback. I was like, wow. I need to find a way to use that. How does one get to use the saying punching meat in the freezer? But it is definitely one of those sayings that is a keeper.
You know, that's one of the things. I can see you pulling that out in the future. Jason, I don't want you punching meat in no freezer. You better be getting to work. And that's just... I think punching meat in a freezer as a Rocky reference works in one way, but it also sounds like a reference for futility. Like, you're never going to actually become a pro at StarCraft 2. That's like punching meat in a freezer. You know what I'm saying? Oh, God. I don't even know what to say. We're going to be bringing in two of the players from the VVV Gaming League of Legends team. Let's take a quick commercial break so we can get them in, and then we'll get back. I can't even keep a straight face. Look what you did to me. You just destroyed me. Oh, my God. All right, let's take a quick commercial, and then we shall be back so that we can get these guys in. Give us about 3 minutes. We'll be right back. We are back after finishing up with NJ Rod. We're going to be bringing in two of the VVV Gaming League of Legends players. This week we are going to have both vVvG Tsunamiie and vVvG Skilly with us. Only one of them on video, unfortunately. But we are joined by vVvG Tsunamiie on video, and then Skilly's here as well. He's just not on video. But first things first, to the man who we can actually see, Tsunamiie. How are you doing this week, sir?
Good.
That was about as descriptive of a how are you doing that I've ever heard in my life. By the way, I absolutely love your headphones. That's like purple and yellow?
Yeah.
Definitely. Skilly as well. Good sir, how are you doing, my friend?
Great, how are you?
Awesome. Very awesome. So, guys, we're going to start this out by getting you guys to tell a little bit about yourself, since we've never had you on the show before. You guys are still pretty brand new to VVV Gaming, representing us. Tsunamiie, tell us a little bit about yourself, your age, where you're from. Give us a little bit about you.
My name is Brian Herr, Tsunamiie. I'm the team captain for professional team of League of Legends professional team for VVV. I play jungler for my team. I am 17 and I live in Vancouver, BC.
Awesome. And Skilly, if you could do the same for me, tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
All right. My name is Edward Biak, also known as vVvG Skilly. I play for the professional VVV League of Legends team, and my role is AP mid carry. I'm currently 16 and I live in Vancouver.
Awesome. Very cool. I gotta tell you guys, I've been able to watch you quite a bit, and you definitely are making some waves right now, getting people talking. I've just recently fallen in love with the game. I've been playing jungler a lot recently, so Tsunamiie, you're gonna have to throw me some tips. But tell us a little bit about what got you into the game and how the team has been doing since joining up with vVvG. Tsunamiie, what are your thoughts? And tell us a little bit about how you got into the game and then what your thoughts on vVvG are so far.
2010, around May, I think StarCraft 2 beta started. So me and my friend got a beta key somehow, and we played like StarCraft 2 non-stop every day. Then around end of June, the StarCraft 2 beta ended. The first phase ended, so we were like, oh, well, it's summer and there's like no games to play, so let's go check around. And we were browsing around and we saw League of Legends, and we downloaded that. And after like third game, we were like, oh my god, this game is really, really good. And ever since then, I've been playing. That's how I started my League of Legends gaming career, I guess.
Awesome.
Okay, which game is more fun, League of Legends or StarCraft 2? And you can't count when you're playing with friends. So you got to be like only in like solo queue.
I have to say StarCraft 2 by far.
Oh,
whoa! League of Legends player saying that.
There we go. Honest answer. I love it. All right, keep on going, Jason.
But yeah, one more thing before we transition over to Skilly for the same questions. What are your thoughts on vVv Gaming so far? I mean, you're still brand new to the community, and how do you feel the team is doing?
vVv, when we first got picked up, there was a lot of staffs assigned to us that we didn't expect. No Control, we've been talking with him every day since we met. And yeah, vVv's been pretty good. And team right now, we're on kind of a slump, but I think we'll be good for MLG.
Awesome. I am looking forward to seeing you guys at MLG, by the way. But Skilly, exact same questions. Let's rewind just a little bit. How did you get involved with League of Legends? And then right after that, we'll get into your thoughts on vVv and the team.
Okay, I started playing Dota, and then I got kind of bored of Dota, and then me and my friends heard that there's this game like similar with like different graphics, because like Dota's graphics isn't that great, to be honest, in my opinion. And I tried out League of Legends with my friend, and it's the same as Tsunamiie. As soon as I got level 3, it's like I'm hooked.
That's awesome. Cool. And your thoughts on vVv and the team so far since you've been picked up? I know it's been a very short time, but give us your thoughts.
All of vVv have been like really, really supportive. Like I was overwhelmed. I'm like, wow, these guys like really care about what they do. Like No Control, talking to us every day, making sure like we have something planned for the weekend, like as in a tournament, all that, making sure everybody's like doing well. So I'm really happy.
Very cool. That's awesome to hear. Yeah, No Control speaks very, very highly of you guys. I swear, it's like, I feel like he's related to you by blood, just the way he talks about you. But it's really cool to see how he's kind of almost mentoring this team and helping you guys come up. Very cool. Curt, what are your thoughts? Give our League of Legends players some questions, man.
Well, probably my first question is, right off the bat, isn't probably to the LOL team. It's going to be more to Jerry, and I guess to you too, Jason, is what you guys picked these up how long ago? A few weeks ago? Is that right?
Yeah, it's been closer to a month now, I think, or at least it feels like a month.
Okay. Well, like, I'm just wondering, like, why is it that you guys picked them up? What did you see in them? Is it, just let me know what's going on.
Oh, this was sort of an easy no-brainer for us. So we were looking at League of Legends teams, and the truth of the matter is that, you know me, I'm not a fan of a lot of League of Legends players. They got a big mouth. They don't do it for me. They're not there, right? There's too much ego, and there's not enough. They don't have the polish yet. They don't have the shine, right? So No Control came to me and said, I think I've got the perfect team. They're young. They're aggressive. And he knows I love aggressive gameplay. That's just something about my nature, I like to see aggressive players take risks. That's how you win big. Not being foolhardy, not being stupid, but taking risks. And sometimes watching this team, they seemed fearless. On the flip note of that, Skilly's stream really sold me too. His ability to talk to players and answer questions, I believed he cared. Like, I really believed he cared that other people were learning and that they loved the game and that they were getting better. So those things combined, I met with the team. They seemed a bit shy, a bit intimidated maybe even, but I kind of knew that, they probably had 1,000 questions. And if all went well, they would be in Anaheim, and from that day forward, everything would change. So I think the train is headed in that direction. And I think much like CD Jr. and Mortal Kombat, and one of our persons doing a show who's looking to go to Machinima 4th Oracle, who's now doing something called the Summoner's Herald. There are a few moments I say, so there are a few teams or players that I say things are going to change. And in this team, I'm pretty confident. So,
well, in case you didn't know, Jerry, you're kind of an intimidating guy. I mean, it's not like, as I like to say, you spit Skittles and rainbows or anything. I mean,
what? I'm
yeah.
Oh my God! Don't go punching.
But I could certainly punch meat in the freezer. I'll tell you that.
you punch meat in the freezer with the best of them, buddy. I'm telling you.
Yeah. So let me hop in here though, because I do think there's a lot of things that I mean, a lot of vVv players that are playing League of Legends now look to this team for advice, for ideas, and I want to talk about how each of the players sort of fell into their particular roles, because I'm interested about how personality fits role. And I want to start out with Tsunamiie, who's obviously the jungler, and I know a lot of people in the stream play League of Legends, so I'm not going to explain what the jungler does, but definitely a unique role. You're not laning, you're doing something rather different. Tsunamiie, why that? Why jungling over being, mid, AD carry, whatever the case may be? Why jungler?
When I first started competitive League of Legends, which was last year March, when my first team formed, I was usually top player, but then after my first team disbanded, or my second team was formed for WCG Canadian qualifiers, and when we had 5 people, we were talking about roles, and technically I wanted to play solo lane, but it just turns out that I have to play jungle because no one else on the team could. So ever since then, I've been stuck with the jungle role. Even on solo queue right now, I don't really like playing jungle. It's more that I'm forced to jungle rather than I want to play jungle.
Team captain, beaten down, stuck in the jungle, no love, no moves. What do you think, Skilly? How did you fall into the... Well, I don't even know if that's really a fair question, because how many people don't really want to be a really, really good mid-AP carry? So tell us how you fell in love with your role.
Actually, when Season 1 came out, I played like a lot of AD bot, AD ranged. I think I had the #1 record in NA for having the best Trist. And then Season 2 came out, and I got bored of AD, so I was like, who should I play? What role should I play? And I was watching stream, and I see Reginald streaming APs, and I watched him for like a couple hours. I was like, wow, I can't believe they can do that, like carry the game like that. So then on, I just tried AP, and then like I just fell in love with it. I really like it too.
Awesome.
Well, are you going to say something, Jason? If not, I'm going to...
Oh, no, please continue.
So I was going to ask about each of your playing past. Now, Skilly, you've been on a high-profile team, were you not?
Yeah.
You want to care to share which team that was?
I used to be on the old, I don't think it's called Team Solo Mid anymore, but before it was called AON, All or Nothing, which was basically me, Reginald, Dan Din, Odd One, and Messiah. And also in BFG.
Yep.
Stacked lineup.
Say again, Jason?
I was just saying, that's a really stacked lineup of players. I actually didn't know that you were part of that team.
Well, we weren't that great at the time, to be honest. Like now we're pretty good at the game, but before that was like in early Season 1 when we're just like a couple of random solo queuers. Right,
that's really cool. And what made you break away from the team, and how did you end up finding the guys that you're currently teaming with now?
What broke AON was I had school, so I had to leave. I didn't take the game too seriously at that time, just because I was just playing casually for fun and all that, no commitments. And then how I got with this team was I had Tsunamiie on my friends list, and so one day he found out, or I found out, or whatever, that we both lived like in the same area, and there's a LAN coming up, and he asked me if I wanted to go. And I asked him the prize, there's some RP, I was like, okay, I need a new Rise skin, so I accepted. We went, and then we found a bunch of other high yellow players in Vancouver. And after we won that tournament, we went to that LAN tournament, we're undefeated, like this, it was a piece of cake. And then like after that, we're just like, oh, maybe we should make this a team. We all live in Vancouver, etc. It'll be really easy, more fun, because we know each other, and that's how it formed.
Awesome. And is that anything to add to that, Tsunamiie?
For me?
Yeah, as far as, would you agree with that story? You got anything to add?
Yeah, that's pretty much it, about how the current team formed.
And let's talk about MLG Anaheim. Obviously, you guys finishing school, busy, life, and now it's time to prepare. Let's talk about how the team's preparing for Anaheim. What's going to be your process to get ready for this event?
We've been kind of lacking practice for the last 2 weeks, but even then, we still like practice against Legion, and we've been doing pretty well. Legion's team in North America, like, even we never got stomped by them, and
I think, at least on my side, the video is actually frozen at the moment on the stream, and I'm not getting anything through.
All right, well, let's keep moving along. Skilly, want to pick up where he left off?
Yeah. As he said, we have been lacking 2 weeks. It's like it's life. It's near ending school, so people have exams. People have exams basically, provincials and all that. So then after that's done, what I would like to do is I want to just have a full week or whatever, where we just grind 5s ranked or go scrim against top teams and get better, find out what roles, what team comps we should run in and all that.
Mm-hmm. Welcome back, by the way, Tsunamiie.
Yes, welcome back.
Yeah.
If he's there.
Yeah, I'm here.
There you go. Just a little bit of lag there. We apologize for that, but welcome back, as we said. So was there anything else that you were going to add before?
Where did I get disconnected?
Yeah, I think we got it covered. I think Skilly filled it in, and I want to move on to something else that's also important. The team does have LAN experience, which is probably going to benefit you going to Anaheim. And I think that, coming from Canada, going to Anaheim, getting your parents involved now, both of you have immigrant parents. So I want to talk a little bit about, we have a lot of people in our community. Many have immigrant parents, and for some of them, those parents might be a little bit more difficult to sell on video gaming. So Tsunamiie, I want to start with you and sort of get a feel for some of the challenges you may have had in explaining to your parents, hey, this is what I want to go do.
Where should I start? Grade 8. Every summer here, there's in the farms, we do blueberry picking. So if kids who don't have summer jobs or they're not old enough to get a job, they go to blueberry farms and pick blueberries for money during the summer. And I saved up my money for that in my grade 8 summer, and I've managed to buy a laptop with the money I earned from blueberry picking. And when I first got my laptop, I just played StarCraft 1 just crazy in my room. And my mom would always around 11 p.m. or something, she would always come into my room and get back, go to sleep or something like that. And I've always had trouble playing late with my friends because my parents would always tell me to sleep early. That would be my challenge. Then I got my actual computer that can run. I don't know. In the end, I just kept playing until now, and now they just don't even care. As long as I get my school stuff done, as long as grades are good, and they think I'm taking this as an extra, is an extra thing, outside school thing. They just don't even care now.
So you've outlasted them. You've convinced them this is an extracurricular activity, and you've sort of outlasted their complaining. And as long as your grades are good, you're good.
Yeah.
All right, Skilly, what about you?
It's sort of the same as Tsunamiie. When I was playing Dota, they'd always come in my room what are you doing, boy, all that. And I didn't play really competitively. I just played maybe 1 or 2 hours a day, so it was fine. But then when League of Legends came out and I hit level 3, things got out of hand. I stayed up to 12-1. My mom would always come in too, why aren't you sleeping, you have school. And then high school came around, and then we eventually had a talk, and I told them I was going to take this game pretty seriously now. And they're behind me. As long as it didn't affect school, my report card came, I did pretty well. So they were happy, and then I think what sealed the deal was I don't think they took me gaming seriously. until I won, like, I started winning prizes and coming home with, like, money and all the other stuff. And they're like, well, okay, so I guess he's taking this for real. So then now they just let me do whatever.
Yeah, the results tend to be the best way to sway parents. I tell, Curt had mentioned earlier that I'm intimidating, and now that I think about it, maybe it's because I use lines like this. But often people will tell me, things like, what should I do to get known, or how do I convince my parents to let me do this? My answer is generally the same to both those two questions, which is win. Right? If you win, you will get known. If you win, your parents will see you achieving something, and that's a pretty powerful effect. So it's interesting to hear that winning really sort of smoothed the ride to this. Let's talk about the competition in Anaheim, which I think is, for a lot of different people, thinking about a lot of different things. I want to get a feel for you guys. What do you think about the competition? What do you know about the competition leading up to Anaheim? Because I assume a lot of the top teams are going to be there. And does anything have you nervous, concerned? How are you going to prepare for those teams? Let's talk a little bit about that.
I've heard the site says 20 teams, but I've heard it's 32 teams. So I know Orbit's going there, we're going there, TSM's going there, CLG's going there, CLG EU's going there. I know there's like 4 or 6 European teams that are coming, but there could be more. If it's 20 teams, I guess right now, realistically, our goal is to place top 8, but I think if we scrim regularly up to MLG Anaheim, I think we can probably do top 12, yeah.
Gotcha. And that's, is that with 20 teams or is that with 32 teams?
Top 12 out of 20 teams. 32, I'm not exactly sure. Probably top 16. It depends on what teams are in there, but yeah, realistically, 32 teams. And it would depend on who we get matched up against in the bracket. If we're playing like Dignitas round 1, then I'm not sure.
All right, Skilly, do you agree, or you think he's cutting you guys short?
He's selling us a little bit short, in my opinion.
Tsunamiie's so modest. It's a good thing I don't... I can think one of your teammates who might give a different answer, who's a lot less modest than Tsunamiie.
I think we do pretty well. Like, we could be like the wild card. We have nobody's ever known about us, like vVv and like the MLG, because we didn't go to IPL, all that. So it could be like another MM, which is like a random team, bunch of high solo queue players come in, get 4th place, and just like, yeah. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Like, you can't really say if you're gonna be like 8th or you're gonna try for 12th. You just got to play the game and see what happens from there. As long as you like did your best with the team, I think that'll be fine.
Curt, you were gonna ask something?
Yeah, I mean, I have a question in regards to you were talking about, I hope I don't get teamed up with, Dignitas first round. League of Legends is kind of confusing to the people who don't play it all the time, in the sense of who the top teams are. I mean, I guess I could spit out some CLG and TSM, and I guess probably still EG and Dignitas and stuff like that. But who, in your guys' opinion, is really the best right now? Like, who in North America at least? Let me limit that. In North America at least, who is the team to beat? Because in the end, it seems to be going back and forth between actual consistent results.
So you want to handle that, Skilly? We'll start with you. You got it, Tsunamiie. You got it?
All right. First, I have to give it to Epic Gaming or TSM, one of those two.
All right, so Tsunamiie's going with Epic Gaming or TSM. What do you think, Skilly?
I really like Epic's lineup. It's really beast, but I don't think they've practiced enough to the extent of how TSM practices. Like, as you all know, they have like a gaming house, all-day gaming, scrimming, streaming. So I think TSM would be big in the the team to beat.
Yeah, and just a big note, I mean, Epic Gamer actually is a part of TSM. They actually are the brother team now. So considering that both of those two teams are training together and that they're playing together, I mean, that's going to make them both very formidable as the year goes on. Just a note to throw in there.
All right, well, I don't want to hold the team up much longer, but I do got a couple other questions. Skilly, let's talk a little bit about your involvement in coaching and streaming. I want to get a feel for how you got involved in that and why you love to do it.
Like when I played League of Legends, when I wasn't great, I wasn't great. I was just playing around, and then one of my friends sent me a link, and it was of a player like streaming League of Legends. And from then on, I started to learn like how to play League of Legends. He is like top player. So I'd like mimic what he did to get better at the game, and he also commentated, which was really nice. Like, so I could actually learn what he was doing, the reasoning why. Bad. So then, as soon as I started getting good at the game, I wanted to stream from the beginning, but my computer couldn't handle it, unfortunately. But recently, I got a new computer, so then I started streaming. I asked my boy Reginald, because we're kind of close, to hook up a feature stream on So Limit, and from then on I just started to commentate, and then like I got a little bit of fans, like a few fans, and then it started from there. And then as I started commentating and talking with fans, like my fan base has grown. And then for coaching, I recently like made a thread for coaching on vVv, free coaching, that I still do every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, one guy each. And like it's pretty big. Like I don't know how much replies there are, but I think there's quite a few.
A lot.
You're going to be using your weekends for a while, let's put it like that.
Yeah, I'm going to be using it for quite a while.
Tsunamiie, what got you in? A lot of players I know, especially on teams, don't necessarily enjoy being the captain, and you seem to like being the captain. Tell me a little bit about what does it mean to be the captain of a League of Legends team? What are some of the things you deal with, and what do you like about that role?
I don't know. I wouldn't really consider myself like a very good captain. It's just more like I got the 4 people together in the team and started making them play together. I'm mostly more of the team scheduler. I schedule all the scrims. I find tournaments we can play on, and I sign our team up for that. That's usually mostly my role in the team. It's not really I make the calls as a team captain or something like that. It's just, yeah, I'm more of the scheduler of the team.
Tsunamiie, you're so modest. Look at you. He's very, very laid back, like, hey, it's cool. I got this. This is what I do. I like that about you, Tsunamiie. That's good.
On that note, let's get this wrapped up, Jason, because I know we got news yet to cover, and I don't want to. I know that a lot of people are starting to get their Diablo 3 itch, so we won't hold up people too long. So go ahead and round it out. But Skilly, Tsunamiie, it's fantastic. Jason's going to close it out here.
Yeah, most definitely. Guys, I'm really glad that you could come on the show this week, talk a little bit League of Legends. I'm really looking forward to meeting you guys in Anaheim. So definitely practice up. We'll be there to cheer you on with that brand new League of Legends setup they got in Anaheim with the soundproof booths. That's going to be pretty awesome. But before you go, I'd like to give you guys the time to give any shout-outs that you'd like to any of your fans, anybody that you'd like to say hey to. Tsunamiie, let's start out with you, and then Skilly right afterwards. Any shout-outs?
Follow me on Twitter. I have if any of you are from Vancouver, there's a Facebook group called Vancouver League of Legends. Just search that up in the Facebook search bar and you'll find it. There's gonna be, and also if you're from Vancouver, there's a big LAN tournament called Vancouver on June 30th. It's like $5,000 for first place or something. So come check that out, sign up for that, and yeah, that's about it.
And Skilly?
Follow me on Twitter at vVvGamingTV. I mean, at LOL Skilly. So yeah, I have a Facebook fan page. All you have to do is type in Skilly, and yeah, that's about it. Thanks for having me.
Oh, definitely. We'll definitely have you back at some point in the future. I look forward to seeing you guys at Anaheim, like I said before. And who knows, hopefully maybe someday I can actually get in a game with you guys, and you guys can carry me to victory. Although I will warn you in advance, I am really heavy, very hard to carry. So hopefully we'll get that done sometime in the future. But thank you guys so much yet again for taking some time out on this day, Diablo 3 launch day, to come join us. And we'll see you guys very soon, all right?
All right, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Go ahead.
Take it
Good
easy.
All right. That was awesome. Really cool to have the guys on the show, get to meet them, share a little bit of their personality here with us. And I think it's about time that we actually get on to some news before we wrap this show up for the week. What do you say, guys?
Sounds like a plan.
No, I don't know. Here's the thing, right? We got to back up. If we're going to talk about news, and there's been actually a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I don't know where all of you want to start, and Curt, I'm sure you got your sort of first and center. But one thing I want to talk about tonight is, once again, ever so often there is an organization that shows up like Blight Gaming that makes a lot of promises and then doesn't deliver on them. And, this is one of those things that just, it just always disappoints me. It upsets me. I wish players were not so gullible. And they weren't, we in vVvGaming often tell players what they don't want to hear. And then there are those that I think try to tell everything they want to hear, and then it falls through. Curt, who am I talking about?
I do believe you were talking about Eclypsia.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, for those who do not know the story of what we'll call their talent drain,
well, they've got so many. Let's start out with the beginning. We for those that are familiar with their quote unquote story, they fucked up multiple times now. They started off by picking up a few players and doing an April Fool's contest, where the April Fool's contest involved their own players telling everyone that Eclypsia was a bad organization and they weren't paying them. That was their April Fool's prank. Strike one. Strike two. Right after they announced they pick up Scarlet, who is an amazing player, but she is also a transgender player. He definitely gets a little bit of quote-unquote controversy in the community. They decide, right after they announced to pick up Scarlet, they're going to do a meme contest to people that can make the best meme about one of their players, whoever it is, or about Eclypsia in general. Strike two. All right. They then also proceeded to lose their Dota 2 team, which they had originally stole from Quantic Gaming, even though they were quote-unquote contracted players and all that. The Dota 2 team left Quantic for Eclypsia because Eclypsia refused to pay the buyout price for their contract to Quantic Gaming, or Quantic. So strike three. And anyway, the latest news is, of course, Desro, Slog, who is a fairly popular player from FXO, Scarlet, as well as Artist, all have announced that they left Eclypsia. Some of them say because of broken promises. Some of them say just because they couldn't trust them. So that's pretty much the gist of it. They've strike on up umpteen by now. So
yeah, they just lost quite a bit of their talent, to say the least. I'm not sure how else you can even put that, but
I love the silence, because there's not a lot you can say, man.
Yeah,
I just don't. Once again, and I want to say this. I talked about this on a podcast I was on earlier today. That I like to think that I want to help people, and I have made mistakes in the past of overextending myself. I had one of my first organizations. I overextended myself, and I admitted that, and I said, "Hey, I overextended myself. I paid the players for what I I had not done, and then I proceeded to fix what I had wrong. And I make sure that we don't do that now. So if people overextend themselves, that's fine if they're asking for help and they're new to this and stuff like that. Eclypsia is not asking for help. They're saying they're smarter than you, they know what they're doing, and then proceed to continue to do meme contests and April Fool's jokes that involves them, ridiculous stuff and not paying their players and so on and so forth. And to me, the biggest, saddest story in this entire thing is Artist, who is a really not really popular, but a somewhat popular but a little bit unknown Korean player who was originally on Rain. He made it into the arena for the North American region, which is huge for any player. They then said they were going to send him earlier on. They said, quote unquote, by Destro, that they would send him to any major event. And then they backed out on it immediately after they found out that he had made it into arena pretty much. Yeah. So he actually had to forfeit his slot to Huck this weekend because he's not able to attend the arena. So it's pretty awful when you can get a really big shot like that, and then the organization you're supposed to be supporting you, flat out can't.
To add to this, we just talked about it just a second ago, but some of the ideas, they kind of make my head hurt. Aside from the April Fools, which really did nothing but negative for them, the meme contest idea it makes my soul hurt a little bit, especially when you check out the very first post in that thread. Going back and looking at it, the very first entry on the thread was Austin Powers pointing, going, "That's a man, baby." Not the best idea to have that. And then right afterwards, another picture that says "Best woman in eSports is a man" with a picture of Scarlett. I can't.
It's flat out just idiotic, and I have no other way to put it. Jerry,
this is the whole thing. All those fucking players, all of them, the only one who gets a pass from me is Scarlett because she knew. But Destro, a lot of these others, don't you have any friends to ask tough questions to? Right?
That being said,
there's
Jerry,
this fantasy. Go ahead.
I really want to defend these guys real quick because look, I'm not the biggest fan of Destro, or I don't know Slog at all. That being said, these players were targeted. Okay, they were desperate players. Destro is living in Korea on his own, spending his own money, on food in the Gom house and this and that. He's desperate to find a team, and so is Artist, who had just made it to Arena and was doing really well, and Slog, who had lost his team and was living in Korea on his own as well. It's kind of like almost entrapment. It's we'll offer you the world, and they were blind to it because they needed it that bad. Not a matter of they were desperate. I take that back, but they needed it. So to me, that excuse of they should have known better isn't a good excuse in this particular circumstance because they needed it. They were desperate in the sense of they had to get some of this stuff in order to survive, So to me, normally that would be a big enough excuse for me. But this is a pure Eclypsia thing where these players were targeted because they knew they were desperate. They knew that these players were the players that would take something immediately because they were teamless and because they didn't have any other team supporting them at the time, and they were living on their own in Korea. So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess you can defend them on that account, but it's one of these situations where, again, how many times have we seen this? Right? How many people, and maybe this is just never ending, right? How many people have to fail in this space before, players and other people get a lot more cautious, right? I swear to God, there's got to be some neurological reason that people believe exactly what they want to believe. I really wish I knew more about the science behind that, but it always strikes me as odd. I am so skeptical of anyone who talks about anything. Somebody come to me on Steam and was like, I'm in the middle of a crisis and my organization is thinking about, and I can bring all these things to the table. throwing around all these numbers. Do you really think I believe this person? Person that comes to me and is like, I think your site should be higher in Eclypsia rankings. I just want to pull that person in real close and be like, who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Really? My site should be higher in Eclypsia rankings? I wouldn't even know to begin with that stupidity. Like, that may work with like a 16-year-old kid, but let me tell you the difference between Google Analytics and Eclypsia, first off. Let me give you an education. Secondly, I work in the publishing industry. I don't need you to tell me about how we rank traffic, right? Like, I think about people like that and I think to myself, where do you come from? And the fact that young people don't have, I think, enough real-world experience to sort of navigate that, I still wish sometimes, like, fuck, come talk to me, right? I'm not going to pay for your shit. I'd never pick up Destro and pay for his shit, but at least come talk to me. I'll at least tell you, vet these people before you sign on to this. And I do agree with you, it is tragic that someone can't go to an MLG event and that Huck had to take his place. Just drew a blank on his name. Curt. What's his name?
Artist.
Artist, thank you. Artist is a tragedy in all of this, right? I think it's horrible that he doesn't get a chance to go. And again, who are these people at this organization and who's holding them accountable? Right? Will they end up like Blight and be around forever because nobody ever took care of Blight? And people kept buying into this, drank the same Kool-Aid? I'm just wondering.
I do want to point out that I actually did reach out to Eclypsia and email them asking to have someone from the organization come on the show and give their sides of the story. I have not received any word back from them. So I have tried reaching out. They did not respond. Take that as you will.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, I think these guys are going to be around for a little while, which is rather unfortunate. I mean, because like you said, no one is holding them accountable. Even the players are being very, very lighthearted in what they say. Destro, I talked to him about this when I was on a podcast today with Destro, and I asked him about this. Do you think you're being too lenient on them? And he, and I think he is. I think because he's saying, well, they didn't necessarily do anything. They gave us what we promised and what they promised. And what he means is they did pay them their first month's salary, but they were only with them for a month or two, but they didn't. What they didn't do is they didn't send artists where they had told them they were going to send them to, and they didn't really they weren't communicating with their players at all and letting them know. Desser said the first time he talked to the management of Eclypsia was the day that they decided to leave. To me, that's just not acceptable.
Dude, I'm doing so many things wrong. I need to learn to treat players even more shitty. I'm going to start making promises. I'm going to start like just hinting how much money I make every year, and then talk about what I can do, and then maybe just kind of hint that, oh yeah, we're going to pay salary and all this. I thought I should make a Team Liquid post.
Look, Jerry, all you have to do is you pick up a player, give him $50,000 a year, whether you can actually, get anything back from that or not, and then you're the biggest organization on the planet, Jerry.
Dude, I think that's what I should do. I should just start stacking a roster, and just be like, screw it. I can afford, giving a player $500 a month. That'll be fantastic, right? Give them $60,000 a year, or pardon me, $6,000 a year. Yeah, that's probably, going to get somebody. Now, this is silly. Actually, this is actually beyond silly. This is just one of those things that I swear to God, I wish they would talk to people before, and ask all the right questions. I remember when Six Jack was around. You remember Six Jacks, Curt?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a sponsor came to me, someone who sponsors teams, and said, have you ever talked to those guys? And I was like, no. It's like, every word out of their mouth is sir, yes, sir, no, sir. They're really formal. As a matter of fact, I think they're more formal than some of the executive boardrooms I've been in, and they're dumb, really dumb. And I was like, wow, that's pretty honest, right? But part of me just says we got to call this shit out. We talk about transparency, we talk about this, but nobody wants to point the finger and this should just be this that's it, right? Here you are, this is what you've done, kind of call it out, Because at the end of the day, that hurts everyone. It hurts the reputation of esports. It hurts the reputation of people that do this legitimately. I may not agree with every decision some organizations make, and that's none of my business in a way. And if they are paying their players and meeting their obligations, that's what counts, right? That's still the sort of players first mentality has to be critical. After that, I don't really feel that I necessarily have the right to comment. I can comment as an analyst or as a fan, but if players are getting paid, that's probably all that matters. But when you don't pay players, I don't know, string them up, shoot them, do something, right? Let's not play games with this, right? And it's
and that's the thing. You think the pitchfork is bad on people like Destiny and stuff like that. You wait till some of the stuff gets out about some of the organizations and teams and what they do on a weekly basis.
But I don't think so. I think MLG tries to charge $15 for a fucking high definition stream, and there are 9,000 posts on fucking Team Liquid crying about how this is going to destroy esports. But the people who actually destroy esports, you don't hear anything, right? I leak information about fucking Team Liquid wanting to charge MLG for an ad, and Hotbid won't talk to me. Well, not that I fucking care, but like me, right? All the money and the time that we sink into this, I'm the guy you don't talk to, but I bet you'd like curiously talk to Eclypsia. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's definitely a weird line, I mean, you mentioned Six Jacks, and I think we're going to go on to another news topic, but you mentioned Six Jacks. People don't realize some of the story behind Six Jacks, the fact that they picked up an original team called NRG, which had Vibe on it, DDE, all these quote-unquote famous players, and then some of the lesser-known players on that team. They picked up NRG, told them they would give them the world, and that they had contracts incoming, had them for like 3 or 4 months before they contracted them, and then when they decided to contract them, they contracted only the players that they wanted to keep. So they contracted Vibe, DDE, Mir High, some of the really popular players at the time, and that's it. And then cut the rest of the team, including the manager, and then hired Artosis. So, and people don't know that story. Yeah,
Well, but there's another one, right? What the fuck was Artosis doing? What was that, a free paycheck? Right?
Yeah,
I got one shot at a little bit of money, and I took it? I mean,
and excuse me, I don't know if they paid Artosis, by the way. I'm sure they did, but I don't know. I'm just saying that he took that manager's place that was then fired. Whether he knew that or not, I don't know. But that's, neither here nor there. I mean, it's pointing out the fact that of what Six Jacks did. So, anyway.
All right, let's move on to other news.
Yeah,
Curt, you take it here.
I'm going to cover one thing really quick. For people that this is brand new, Root is actually coming back. Root was announced that they are returning. The old, I guess what was the best team, last year is coming back. Now, of course, the roster is nowhere near as good as it was then. But the Root Gaming is back. Drewby and Cats were both released from Complexity, Jerry. Did you see that?
You know what?
Your favorite person, Cats, is no longer on your favorite team.
I saw that. I saw Jason Lake sort of, have fun, brother, good luck, Yeah, clean him out, right? This is. I'm telling you right now.
And Destiny's back on the team, so it's Drewby, Cats, KiwiCocky, Destiny, Slush, and Fate.
That's a class roster right there. That's fucking class. Right? You know what they did? They took everybody whose ego's so fucking big but not worth a dime anymore, and they plumped them on one team so that enough people could pay attention and be like, oh, they must count for something. They've got all these people. So, good for Root. Who's paying for it?
No clue. The same people that were paying for Root before.
This time, what they got? They got a plan? They got a job?
This time it'll be different, guys. This time it'll be different.
Well, like I said, none of those players were going to get sponsored anyway, so I don't see what... it doesn't seem to matter to me, to be honest. Right? I'm sure fucking Complexity had no problem getting rid of those people, so...
Shall we talk about something that actually does matter?
We shall.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's do some MLG news. MLG, this is probably the biggest news of the week. They did just announce an exclusive multi-year partnership with KeSPA. And this right here might be some of the biggest news. I mean, MLG said they were going to continue to roll out the big news, and roll it out they have. Adam and some of the other MLG...
I feel like because Adam was on our show and he talked about this but just hinted at it, I feel like this is like 3-week-old news.
But to be fair...
It's really not. It's really not. But I mean, I feel like it is.
It's official. I believe the news actually broke on May 11th. The pictures of Adam and those the executives from KeSPA all with the signed documents in Korea. They just flew over to get everything squared away. But officially, this means that KeSPA players will be exclusively coming to MLG events. I mean, this means we will get people like Flash at MLG, which, I mean, Adam even made light of it by tweeting when he was flying home that he would be home in a flash, with Flash all capitalized. I mean, this has got to be great news to see KeSPA finally working with someone else. They've been talking about making joint decisions, getting a map pool that is standardized across the board. I want to hear your thoughts, though, Curt. Then we'll go to Jerry afterwards. What do you think about this monumental partnership?
I mean, to be completely honest with you, I don't think there's a lot that can be said that hasn't been said already. Absolutely amazing news. I can't really... I suppose it was only a natural progression, you know, with the whole GOM thing and how it went downhill with MLG, whether, you know, on purpose or not on purpose. You know, the KeSPA thing was just a natural progression. I think everybody sort of saw the writing on the wall there. I don't necessarily think people thought it would happen so soon. It would be an MLG Anaheim thing until, of course, they started hyping it. But yeah, I think it's really good. I think the only thing to watch out for is just to make sure that that MLG allows other organizations to work with KeSPA players, which I think they will. I'm not putting on my tinfoil hat here, but I am saying that, you know, at least watch out for that, just to make sure that there's no nothing like that there too much, at least, in my opinion. Yeah, I think it's really, really good news. I think the really biggest news is to see how exactly that's going to play into Anaheim. Do we know yet if they're going to be like in the open bracket kind of thing?
See, I take this whole thing completely differently. I got to be honest with you.
I know how you take it. I'm
just telling you all right now. I've said this for a long time. I thought what Lee Chen said was very, very telling. Right? When Lee Chen was asked if exclusivity doesn't mean that KeSPA players are only playing at MLG events, that they're allowed to go to other events, what's KeSPA getting out of this deal and what's MLG getting? Here's what Lee Chen said. He said, let's be clear on what that means. If you want a KeSPA player to show up at your event, you have to go through KeSPA. That's the way the pro gaming license work. That's the way KeSPA controls their players. You can't just go to Flash and say, hey, I'd love for you to come at MLG Anaheim. They don't allow that. That's not the way their league is set up. It's similar to a lot of other sports. You don't get to do appearances unless the league approves it. That's how it works with these guys, right? But what part of exclusivity means is that if we ask, KeSPA will seriously consider it as opposed to just saying no. So let's be clear on that. There is special treatment happening here, for the lack of a better term, and that's part of the business relationship. It's not like everybody else gets to just do this. That's not the way this thing works. This is an exclusive partnership on a global level. Here's my thing. I still think MLG will eventually end up where KeSPA is. I'm telling you that right now. There's going to be a day where MLG is going to grab players, just like KeSPA. That's my eventual prediction. And nobody wants to hear that, but it still feels to me like at some point in the future, MLG will own the top 100 or so gamers in various video games. It just seems to make sense to me. Every league owns its players. Why would MLG be any different? And
don't you think we're quite far away from that, though?
I don't know. It's answers like this, you know, pointing to exactly how KeSPA does it, that make me think far away, a year or two? I don't know. All depends how fast money rolls in, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to roll in that fast, though, I mean, in my opinion. But we'll see. I mean, I can't even imagine that. God. Stop fucking with my mind, Jerry.
That's definitely food for thought, to say the least. I mean, that would change things quite a bit, and that makes you wonder where other leagues such as IPL would fit into the mix. If they couldn't obtain the best players, would people still tune in to watch the streams when they know the best won't be there? Does winning an event matter when you aren't actually beating the best players in the nation?
This also means that 6 months down the line, when, and let's just make a prediction here, and I'm not sure this is, once again, I'm not sure this is going to happen. I'm just saying that if this does, 6 months down the line, the KeSPA players are the predominant amazing players, and they're, destroying an MLG, every MLG they attend. And once again, I know this is down the line because they're not even playing in the open bracket, as Adabisi said in the chat, for Anaheim. That being said, let's look 6 months down the line, a year from now. If they are and they're destroying absolutely everything, they're not going to be able to attend IPL, realistically. And that's not MLG's fault necessarily, but they're just not going to be able to. With IPL working with GOM and KeSPA being on the other side of that rail, I don't even know how that's going to work. So you're going to have some of the best players in the sport not at one of the best leagues in North America. So.
See, I think the way that he set it up for KeSPA to feed into MLG, I mean, there was another thing I read that I found very interesting, was when Lee Chen said, that's not the relationship we have with KeSPA. There's going to be a qualification process within KeSPA that decides who will get certain spots at MLG events. It's not just a random arbitrary, I love Boxer, we're inviting Boxer kind of thing. It's a true league-type structure. So that puts...
I suspect it's a lot like GOM, too. Their GOM relationship was based on how they did at MLG and how they did at GSL and stuff like that. It was a sort of an exchange program in that aspect. I don't think it's going to be anything that complicated. It'll just be, how they do in KeSPA sort of sponsored tournaments or sponsored events or however that may be. So,
yeah, I mean, I think you could be right, but I still think that it is rather important that MLG, at least the way this is being positioned, is the sort of king of the hill as far as events go. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah,
even though KeSPA may own the best players, MLG is going to be the Premier League.
For those that aren't realizing what interview we're referencing, we're interviewing a Team Liquid interview that they did with Adam and Lee Chen from MLG, and you should really check it out because Adam cracks me up, man. The guys between IPO and MLG, they just love taking shots at each other, man. It's so funny. They ask Adam not to ask you to throw GOM under the bus, but what happened with GOM? It seemed to be going well and then started falling apart rapidly. The funny thing is Team Liquid's asking this question now. We asked this question three months ago, but still. Adam said, yes, GSTL finals happened at IPL, but just to be clear, we were offered that before, and we didn't want to do it. I mean, we were offered CoDzilla finals at one of our events, the details of that deal, which will remain behind closed doors, but not something we were interested in.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and we talk, a lot of this now is stream number driven, and MLG's got to make those really big decisions, and I do agree with you that, this opens up a lot of interesting opportunities. But here's the thing, right? As all the leagues start to position themselves, I see a couple possible futures. I mean, one, if it grows big enough, there is the baseball model, right? A National League, the American League, and both those sort of form baseball. And that could work here. There could be an IPL and there could be an MLG, and those both could feed sort of the greater league structure that is competitive esports. That's one possibility on how both organizations could survive and sort of thrive if they wanted to do that. On the flip side, though, there's still that business equation of why wouldn't the league want to own the players? I can't think of a sport that doesn't really, and I'm not saying that it's politically wise for MLG to say we're going to own the players, but it seems to me to be an inevitability at some point that that's where they're going to end up. And that makes me wonder, how does that change the structure of what, say, EG does? It doesn't mean EG can't still create great content. still have a house and still do that, or does EG, I don't know. I mean, we've gone down this road with CGS before, and it left a very, very horrible taste in everyone's mouth. I'm not so sure anybody would want to do that again, but just something to consider as we think about, the way KeSPA is structured, and who owns the players and what that means for the league, and what kind of business that sets up. It keeps coming back to that, and maybe they'll create a model that I can see that them not owning the players is good for them, but I struggle very hard with why, as you grow, you're not eventually going to end up there.
Yeah. All right. With that being said, we are talking about MLG events, things of that nature, and we do have an MLG event coming up this weekend worth mentioning before we end up closing this show out, and that is the second spring. Look at me. Curt, I'm doing the same thing you did before. The second spring arena that'll be broadcast this weekend for StarCraft 2. So if you haven't bought your pass yet, you can actually support vVv Gaming. Enter vVv 2012 as your code, and that'll actually help support us when you buy your pass. But that is actually starting this Friday, May 18th at 5 p.m. And if you haven't taken a look, the list of players that will be attending is available on MajorLeagueGaming.com. The top 4 from Arena 1 will be there, as well as the top 10 from the Korean regional final, the winner of DreamHack Asia Open, which was E.G. Thorzane, top 8 from NA, which includes Sleep, as we were talking about earlier in the show, Curt qualifying for the arena from Czech 6, and then also the EU top 9 will also be invited to make it out to this event.
I just want to pull something from that really quick, and that I love making this point now that this has officially happened. I love making the point that an open qualifier system, and I want you to look at the list of players that are at this event. They are some real, somewhat unknown players there. Still amazing players, but not the top players that would have been invited to an arena if it was like Winter Arena 1. You see players like Sipolo. I honestly have no idea who that is, to be completely honest with you. He's on a team called Alien Invasion. Never heard of him, but I don't follow the EU scene quite as much. Tefel from Blast, which I've heard of. Bly, which I've heard of, but at least a somewhat unknown player. And then you see players like Goody and Sake and stuff like that, but players that weren't necessarily invited to absolutely everything. And then for North America, you see players like Mook, who very few people have ever heard of. He's a top player in North America, but he is a Korean player on, I think, Clash. I think it's the team he's on, either Clash or Convergence.
Clash.
Mook, and you see Sleep, player with us. Before that, he had Artist, which took out Huck, or that took Huck's spot, but Huck had to take his spot. Really, it's really amazing seeing some of these unknown players at the event, and there were even more beforehand, but some of them couldn't make the arena, so they had to be replaced by players like Bling and Roof. So
to add
really, really amazing.
Quick note to add to that point. I know that Curt had just touched on this, but to point out, Huck would not have even made the cut. He actually lost in the qualifiers. So if the whole ordeal with Artist had not gone down, we would not be seeing Huck play at this event, and that's someone we've really grown accustomed to seeing at every major. So with that being said, this is going to be a very interesting tournament, some people we are not used to seeing, and I highly recommend you check it out this weekend. Like I said before, if you haven't purchased your pass, vVv 2012 in the referral box. Show some love for us when you're purchasing your pass.
Not only that, for winter, for this, I keep on saying Winter Arena, for the Arena 2, for Spring Arena 2. Yeah, they, not only that, you're going to see some casters you're not used to seeing. I think, and someone please correct me if I'm wrong, we're looking at Apollo will be casting at an MLG event, which is something very rare, or it hasn't happened at all. Total Biscuit, and one other European caster. I forgot his name. I had a brain fart there. But anyway, casters that you're not used to seeing at MLG events will be casting this Spring Arena 2. So awesome stuff.
Yeah.
And don't forget the code, vVv 2012. Much appreciated if you use it.
Yeah.
And one last thing I want to talk about. No, I was going to be mean. And I just thought, no, I won't be mean. I was going to say something really negative about... See, I stopped myself.
You're teasing it. You can't do that. If you're going to say it, just say it, damn it. Come on.
I think the more when I read this is mean, when I read, first of all, the Cats interview, now Root Cats, he interviews himself, right? They don't have a website. His fucking ace in the hole is his best friend Diego Garcia, and the thing that really cracked me up was the line coming from Cats. We've grown more humble and are aware that there's always people who know more, so arrogance and ego will have to be thrown to the side when it comes to the good and success of the team. If that's your big lesson, boy, do you have a lot to learn. It's good you learned it. Probably good to learn that before you enter the real work world, but I don't think that's your problem. Just saying. So I'm not getting a high vibe from this whole sort of no website, we got a logo, we're going to make this big comeback. This is, I'm not sold on this at all. So I'll be very curious to see how this turns out. Besides, didn't people tell me that Destiny makes like $60,000 a year streaming or some ungodly amount of ridiculous money?
It's probably a lot less now.
I think it's always been a lot less, to be fair.
I don't know. I don't know, Jerry.
Here's the other thing, right? Well, if he does make all that money, then why can't they afford a website? I'm just saying.
On that note, I think it's
why launch it now? Why not get a website up and then talk about it?
Maybe we should wrap this up because I don't know where this... I don't know if I like where this is going. This is going to be...
What's going to possibly happen? Destiny's going to send his little stream monsters to come bother our stream?
He might make some really rude remarks on our... Oh, wait, he's done that before.
Yeah,
okay,
sorry.
We're good.
The nice part about being a jackass is when you're a jackass, there's no reason to hold back. There's nothing to redeem thyself with. So, I don't know. To me, this feels like a failure. I hope I'm wrong and, they surprise me, but I'm not seeing anything here worth a damn.
I think in the end, it's just a fun team that they're making together because there's none of them have any other teams. Destiny knows he can't find another organization. He's not really looking for one either. It's just a fun team that, they all go to.
You know what? And here's the other thing, too, that really pisses me off about that thread, is this Team Liquid warning on top. This is not a thread to argue about Destiny or to argue about racism, witch hunts, or any other. The fact that Root is getting back together, you do so at your own peril. The fuck is that? Right? What does that mean? Destiny's a fucking dick on stream, and he sounds like a racist, et cetera, but you're not allowed to talk about that. See, shit like that, this is exactly the problem, right? This is exactly part of the problem. This announcement is sacred in some way, that we can't talk about the fact that, is it really good to be excited about Destiny being in any organization, considering his behavior? I don't think so. Yeah, and I think this just reflects the immaturity and the lack of business experience of probably both the people at Team Liquid and, more importantly, this entire Root Gaming idea.
I can see it right now. Our Team Liquid thread for the losers bracket is going to be closed. It's going to happen. It's going to be like, this show is not legit. You're over. You're done.
I mean, I would
probably... Them. Go ahead and close it. Fuck, big fucking deal. So Team Liquid doesn't let us post on their site. Like, they pay our bills. Big fucking deal. Right? So 15 extra StarCraft players don't like us because fucking Hotbid says, you said mean things about me. Who the fuck cares? I mean, honestly, who cares? Right? I
would probably disagree with you, though. I mean, it's... in the end, they're just trying to make sure that every single thread that mentions the name Destiny doesn't go into some ridiculous debate one way or another, because that's the problem. Is it ends up I mean, every single thread that's.
Have you ever seen in a legitimate news site any article and like the New York Times going, "Sorry, you're not allowed to discuss the fact that this guy was a rapist before. This news article is supposed to talk about how he's reformed and now lives with, works at a woman's clinic." but please do not talk about his previous racism or the fact that he was a racist. No, you wouldn't do that.
It's kind of apples and oranges, though, because the New York Times has a million other fucking posts. Team Liquid doesn't. There's quite a few posts about Destiny every week or every month or whatever. So you can't have every single one degenerating to, oh, he's a racist.
Have you ever looked at a New York Times comment thread or a CNN comment thread?
Of course.
Okay, so there probably isn't a single political comment thread that doesn't have somebody saying shit. Every gay marriage thread has some Christian nut job talking about how these people are going to burn in hell. They don't put a little note. The following article is you should not comment about judging people going to hell. No, this is what happens when kids run things. They do stupid shit like that. And I'm calling it out because it matters. You wouldn't see a legitimate news source do this, right? And this is free advice before somebody else goes, no, I'm not going to invest in this, because clearly you do stupid shit like this. Like that shit that you do when you're 14, right? It's not what you do when you're an adult. Imagine any organization saying, we've come to notice here at the Washington Post that every article dealing with the Democrats, some Republican says bad things about them. And every article that a Republican writes, some Democrat says bad things about him. This news is simply announcing something, and we don't want to get into a political debate about it. The fuck is that? No! Someone needs to tell these people they're fucking stupid. Right? I haven't ranted in a long time, right? But it's fucking stupid.
I very rarely disagree with a rant. I got to disagree with this one. Just because. Jerry, how many times have you blocked a thread because it degenerated into a bunch of bullshit? And then that same stuff came up, and you got tired of it, and you got tired of it, and you got tired of it. It's very similar in this aspect. They have to.
You know how you solve that? Get fucking rid of Destiny. Right? We're not talking about somebody who said something bad about Halo. We're not talking about somebody who fucking had a bad moment. We're talking about somebody who prides himself on being as offensive as he possibly can be. That is not good. So if it was something like that, I would be totally okay, right? But it's not, right? You put this asshole on your team, good. Then fucking take the flack that goes with it, right? Don't be the one to say, guys, can we just ignore the fact that Jimmy's a racist and talk about the nice crafts he's done today? No, because guess what? I can get the crafts without being a racist. I can get a good streamer without somebody being a racist. Or getting his little fucking trolls to run around and do shit. I'm just saying, if you don't want that thread to get fucking bombed, then just get rid of Destiny. Don't make the fucking argument, oh, we're so tired of you complaining about racism. No, I think I should complain about racism. And until we make it clear that there's zero tolerance for that kind of behavior, I certainly don't need the fucking clown college at Team Liquid to make a comment that, look, please don't talk about this. Or the insinuation that it's a witch hunt. It's not a fucking witch hunt. We're not going to find out whether or not somebody using fucking magic needs to be burned at the stake. We have a clear, open racist who quite simply brags about the fact he does this. No witch hunt. That's an asshole. That's the kind of behavior in modern society we don't approve of. Bam! There's no witch hunt. But when you use language like witch hunt, which generally implies poor Destiny, the victim, the fucking victim of a witch hunt, fuck him. And fuck whatever stupid admin put that on there. There's no fucking witch hunt. The guy needs to go. And if somebody doesn't stand up and say unequivocally, this guy needs to go, then everyone will sort of retardedly bang their head from side to side going, no, it's no big deal, but it is a big deal. And if I'm a part of eSports, I don't want it in eSports, period. I want it gone. And anybody who thinks it's okay, I don't feel they have a part either. It's not a joke. It shouldn't be funny. It's bad enough we don't have enough minorities in esports already. And then we fucking have somebody like Destiny who gets to use the word nigger all the time, and it's a joke? As if we then get to ignore fucking 400 years of history? Oh, I don't see color. Fuck you, you should see color, you dick. Color is what separates people's fucking culture and lineage. You should recognize color differences and then treat them with sympathy and respect. That's what you should do. Not fucking say bullshit that just proves you're an ignorant white piece of shit. That's what you should do. So no. So no. Boo on Team Liquid, boo on Root Gaming, and boo to Quantic Destiny. Neither one of them impresses me with that thread. And that's all I got.
All right. I think it's time that I wrap the show up.
I think this time's the end of the show, guys.
I have a napkin here. I was looking around for a Sharpie. I was going to write help on it and just hold it up to the camera, but I didn't have one around. So I tried to stay Switzerland. I might have nodded my head a couple times.
And I got one more comment because I hate when people say this shit, right? He's not a racist. He just uses racist language. Oh, well, he's not a rapist. He doesn't really want to rape anyone. He just finds his dick in women that are unwilling. That is a bullshit distinction, right? If I punch you in the head and say, I'm just kidding, it's not violent, it's still fucking violent, right? We don't live in this fantasy world where you get to sort of edit out the parts you don't like and be like, well, you know, he doesn't really mean it. Well, come fucking up to me at MLG and I'll show you what, oh, you know what? I really didn't fucking mean that. I'm sorry. Did I hurt your feelings? Oh, I didn't mean that. Ha ha, I was just kidding. That fucking gets old if you're a mature human being by the time you're 18. Period. You stop that shit. And if you don't, you're the asshole in college. And if you don't, you find yourself fired. Well, my workers didn't get along with me. My boss just didn't understand me. No, you're a fucking uncivilized ass. That's what really happened. So no, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work where you get to sort of say, well, look, he's not really a racist. He just likes to drop the N-bomb all the time. Really? Well, whatever fantasy world you come from, or the South, wherever that is, that you think that's okay and you can buy that bullshit, it's not going to work in the real world. All right, I'm done now. I swear I'm done.
It's been a good show. I can see it now. Fantastic. Someone is going to post this up in its own thread on Team Liquid this week. It's going to say LordJerith rants. And this is... It's going to happen.
It's going to be worse. It's going to be worse. It's going to be on Reddit. All right, it's going to be worse.
All right, I'm taking bets now.
I hope the fucking God so I can read all these people who say, he's not a racist. He just likes to drop the N-bomb. I'd love to see you try that when at work. Go to work. Really. Go to school. Just go to your class and be like, sup, nigger? And be like, please don't use that language. It's racist. Dude, I ain't a racist, nigger. Why you dissing me, nigger? Fuck that.
Jerry, the comment you made about he's not a rapist, he just finds his dick in
Fucking, I hate stupid kids. I really do. I hate stupid kids. I really do. I swear to God, that's why I hate gaming, because it was the only way to screen out the fucking dregs and shit. I really forgot. That's why I did.
That was so funny.
It's worth for me to make sure that any given time of the day when I want to play games, I don't have those kind of morons anywhere near me. Because it's like, you read the Team Liquid shit and you're like, God, I hope to God nobody actually reads this. Like, if somebody in the real world saw this, they would be like, Jerry, you're involved in this? Like, oh God, this is kind of hard to explain. Kids are kind of stupid, and this is what like the mass majority of like angry little teen boys do, and kind of have to write it off, you know? So, yeah, it's one of those things that you just let it go. You have to let it go. Because otherwise you're like, what the fuck do I do with this idiot? Right? And you could basically ask that asshole 3 questions. So what do you do for work? How much money do you make? And tell me about your educational background. And somewhere in those 3, you're going to find out why he goes, I don't know why you have to call him a rapist. It's not that he hates women. He just likes to use the word bitch and cunt in polite company all the time. Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's going to require the kind of education a person should have had a long time ago. So, yeah, not much I can do about that.
On that note, I think 3rd time's the charm. I'm going to try to wrap it up. But we definitely appreciate you. Yes, you watching right now. That you... Thank you so much for tuning in this week. Look at me. I'm all flustered. My cheeks roll. I actually started crying at one point. I was laughing. But thank you for tuning in. I actually did just use a random number generator, by the way, to pick the winner for the Dota 2 key giveaway that we were doing for this episode. The winner ended up being Relentless from vVv Gaming's forums. So I'm going to be throwing the code over to you. Thank you so much for tweeting out and getting the show out there. We definitely appreciate it. You've won a Dota 2 beta key for your efforts. We definitely appreciate your support. Thank you so much. On that note, let me also thank the sponsors that support the show: Control Freak, SteelSeries, Gamer Grub, the band Power Glove for supplying their music. They're all awesome. I know I get at least 1 or 2 people a week going, oh my god, what's that music? Check out the band Power Glove. Great stuff. If you have any feedback for the show, I'm always open to hearing it. vVv Paradise on Twitter. Tweet me anytime. If you want to email me directly, it's paradise@vv-gaming.com. Definitely open to hearing your thoughts. You know, we might have to get some more people to call in soon, especially with a topic like this. God, I wish this rant would have happened earlier in the show so we could have done that. But I think it's a little bit late now. So
I promised people call-ins last week. All right, but then you guys fucked me up, and you go, "Oh no, we're gonna try to do a slow show or a small show tonight," and then we don't end up doing call-in.
We never get a small show.
Next week we're doing fucking call-ins. All right,
sounds
that's
good.
it.
I promise next week we'll do call-ins, and if I have a rant, that was an impromptu rant. I swear to God. I didn't even pay attention to the Root Gaming thread, and then when I actually read it, like while we were talking, then my blood just getting boiled. Each fucking stupid paragraph of self-interview delusional bullshit like got me more and more heated. And then I realized, wait a minute, are you fucking shitting me? You're not allowed to comment on Quantic Destiny being a racist? We don't want to have that debate. Like, oh God, it's why I'm so grateful that there's a vVv Gaming. Just someplace where that I don't ever have to look at. I won't rant. I'm just saying.
Yep, I'm cutting you off.
My inside voice.
Cutting you off. They're saying in the chat to get out the whips, so I'm gonna have to use that. The judge gavel. Ching ching. Done. Curt, shout-outs for the week.
Yeah. So really amazing week. I appreciate all the support for Sleep this week, and congratulations to him and all that good stuff. Be sure to watch the arena. With any luck, he will be there. We got to get him back in the U.S. first. He'll be flying in on Thursday, and then he's all in MLG's hands. So, with any luck, he'll be here on Thursday. Be sure to watch the arena on Friday. I guess it's Friday. So be sure to use the code vVv2012. I'm sure that'll. I will definitely be using. Well, no, I won't because I've got gold membership. I forgot. Look at that.
You can still use it. What did you do? And I used it. Come on.
I used it when I bought gold membership, I think. But anyway, yeah. So definitely watch for that. If you can, add Check 6 on Facebook. Check number 6 Gaming on Facebook. We're doing a bunch of giveaways and all that good stuff. So check it out there. Last thing, I want to tell something about news real quick. Hopefully we can cover it next week. The IPL 5 format was announced. It's a completely different format. Group play is removed. Open brackets removed. Very, very interesting decision on the format, so we're going to see how it goes. We'll talk about it next week.
Cool. And Jerry, I'm not even sure if I should do this, but I'm going to pass the mic back over to you. Any shout-outs for the week, sir?
I want to give a big shout-out to the staff. Good Monday meeting coming up with the new application process. That was fantastic. Also, a shout-out to CD Junior and Rio. All of our fighters. Look forward to seeing everybody in Anaheim. I know that there is so much going on. And also a big shout out to those people who use the code VV2012 for this weekend. We really do appreciate that. We work hard to promote the things Major League Gaming does. We think they're in the right direction. We had David Ting on here from IPL last week. He had a great interview. Those leagues are doing things the right way. I'm very supportive of what they're doing. And the competition that they're in, I think is a healthy one. I also want to give a big shout out to Baby Toss. She's a writer for vVv Gaming from the Czech Republic. Her interviews on our website have been absolutely amazing. If you have not checked out one of Baby Toss's blogs, she can land some of the best interviews. She most recently did an interview with Grubby, which when it comes to actually capturing the human story, there are very few people who really can do it well. And Baby Toss is just one of those people. I think she has a talent for writing that I don't see very often, and we need more people like her in esports. But she has done also a great interview with Scarlett, and I think I'll link her blog in the chat for those who like to read, good things. But it's really phenomenal writing. I want to see her do more. She's just got a really great talent for getting the inside. And her work, like I said, with both Grubby and Scarlett were fantastic. So big shout out to her as well. So, yeah. And a shout out to you, gentlemen, for surviving my rant, and for all those in the stream who were here. And, I hope everybody gets to go back and enjoy Diablo 3.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, hey, that's what I'll be doing the rest of the week. If you have Diablo 3, make sure you come and add us. We actually have a thread in the vVv Gaming forums with everyone's battle tags, so you can add all of us and play. We definitely have more than enough room in the vVv Mumble server, so jump on in, play some games with us. Diablo 3 is going to be a lot of fun this week. I almost feel kind of bad for Max Payne 3 releasing the same day. It's
you guys doing an arena party this weekend?
Yeah, you know what? We will. Here's another thing. This is how big this weekend is. I want to plug one tiny little MMO. Well, it's not really a tiny MMO, because Funcom did Age of Conan. But they have an MMO out called The Secret World. Mm-hmm. I got invited to the beta. I didn't really care much. Downloaded it. Do you ever remember the first time you played Silent Hill? Is anybody here a Silent Hill fan? Do you ever play the video game Silent Hill?
I have played it.
There's something really cool, right? There was something really cool about the way Silent Hill unfolded. It was just really unique and different. Well, The Secret World is a little bit like that. And they're having their second beta test this weekend. And I think you can still get beta keys through GameSpot. So you would kind of have to Google GameSpot in The Secret World. And if you already have an account, there's a way to get a beta key. But if you're not playing Diablo 3 and you're not watching the StarCraft 2 arena, or you're going to have it off to the side and you're looking for a game to play, you can download The Secret World. I highly recommend it. It's not ordinary. It's got a really cool skill system. They don't have levels like traditional MMOs. Just a lot of unique stuff that really kept me engrossed. So just throw that out there.
Awesome. With that being said, go have some fun, play some games, have a great week. We'll see you back here next week. We'll discuss some of the arena results. We'll try to go over the IPL's new format next week as well. And hope you have a great weekend. Like I said, come join us if you're going to be playing Diablo or any of the other games that are out there this week. League of Legends, we'll be on it. But anywho, you have a great week. We'll see you back here same time as always next week, Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on the vVvGaming Twitch TV channel. Have a great week, everyone. See you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.